Hello to all the lovely cloud enthusiasts. How are you all doing? I hope that you all are doing great financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, etc. And I hope that you are striving to become a better version of yourself than you were yesterday, so that your future self can thank you for the steps that you've taken today. Guys, for those of you who are watching new, who have just joined this channel, my name is Tejas Mahendrakar. Feel free to call me Tejas. If you want to connect with me, those are the connection options. You can search for Tejas Mahendrakar. On LinkedIn, you can send me a connection request and I'll be very happy to connect with you all. If you're watching this video on YouTube, that's the name of my channel. The Cloud Minds is the name of my channel. You can subscribe to the channel. You can look for the other videos, previous videos that I've put up on. These videos are specifically towards the cloud technology and AWS specifically, wherein I'll tell you how various services work. And one of the USPs or one of the unique things about this channel is that I try to give analogies as much as possible so that you can understand how these services work. If you want to connect with me on Gmail, that's my email ID, thecloudsimplifier@gmail.com. You can connect with me. You can ask me questions. If you need any help there, I'm always ready to help you out. So why do I try to simplify the things, or why do I create these, try to provide analogies so that you can understand this better? 5-6 years ago, when I started my cloud journey, it was really difficult for me to understand all of these jargons that the cloud technology or specifically AWS services use, and even the services for that matter. It was not so easy for me to grasp those things. I could only understand or grasp those things if I could relate it to some real world scenarios that I already know. Like for example, there was something called as pay-as-you-go model. I couldn't understand for it. But then later, when I combined it with cab aggregators such as Uber or any other cab aggregators that we already know, I could understand that I do not have to own the cabs. I just have to book the cab using an app. I have to order the cab comes there, I sit in the cab drops me at my location, and then I pay the Uber or the cab driver whatever the amount is, and that's exactly what is pay-as-you-go model. Now this is just one of the examples wherein I try to provide analogies, but as we go ahead and as we try to discuss and as we try to understand what today's topic is, I'll also try to provide an analogy on how this actually works. Alright, now today's topic is really interesting, guys. It's about one of the services which is similar to Lambda. We've already, in my previous videos, we've already looked at Lambda, but Lambda has a limitation of running just for 15 minutes. But what the service that we are trying to look at today is really interesting. It is used primarily to extract data, to transform the data, and to load the data and do the ETL processing. If you guys have guessed what today's topic is going to be, then congratulations, you're really on the right path. If not, do not worry. We are going to discuss in details about what today's topic is, so that we can go ahead and understand this topic in real details, and we'll also look at live demo on how this service actually works. Guys, today's topic is about AWS Glue. Now this is one of the ETL or extract, transform, load services that is provided by AWS, and of course it is fully managed. And when I say fully managed, you do not have to worry about the underlying infrastructure. All you need to worry about is scripting within this and the data that you will be loading or reading or transforming and then uploading either to RDS or back to S3, and all of these things that you need to just take care about. That is what I mean by fully managed. Just to provide you a real world analogy of what this glue looks like, think of it as your packers and movers who help you pack all your belongings and then shift all your belongings to your new house. And think of it that they also help you in arranging the things. If I have to give you a real world analogy of glue, that is what it would look like. It is exactly same as the packers and movers. Now here you actually extract the data from one of the locations, from one of the sources, You transform the data and then you load the data in either one of the RDSs or one of the databases, or you can load the data back in S3 as either CSV format, either Parquet format. It's completely dependent on you. Now, to do all of this, you obviously need something called as script. You must be already knowing some kind of scripting language. I here will use Python along with Apache Spark, and we call it PySpark. I'll be using that to perform extract, transform and load. So I'll be reading the data from S3, I'll be transforming it, I'll be doing some joins because I'll be reading two different datas, I'll be performing some joins, and I'll be loading the data back to S3. Okay, so that is what I mean by extract, transform and load. Now, if I look at the definition again, it is designed to make it easy for users or us to prepare and load the data for analytics and other purposes. For example, there is huge data that needs to be analyzed and that the data is not cleansed properly. We can use Glue to cleanse the data, because once we get the data, we create something called as data frames, which are actually virtual tables that are within the PySpark itself, and you can query, cleanse the data, do all kind of transformations that you require, and then once you're done, you can actually write the data back to either one of the databases or you can write it back to S3. That is what the real world scenario would look like. Alright, and AWS Glue simplifies the process of building and managing ETL pipelines, enabling organizations to efficiently process and analyze large volume of data. Now, when I spoke about big data, that is what Glue actually is used for. Of course, you can as well use EMR, but Glue is now picking up and many people are moving towards Glue. Right? This includes business intelligence, data warehousing and machine learning for that matter. Alright, that is what Glue is used for. Now, I want to show you how the Glue actually works. So let's head over to the AWS Management Console and try to understand how Glue works. Alright, here I am at the AWS Management Console. Once you log in, this is how the console home looks like. What I have gone ahead and done is I have gone ahead and opened the S3 buckets for you, and I have created two buckets, which is the destination and the source buckets. In the source buckets, if you go ahead and look, there are two files, CSV files, which have a data of 1000 rows. Now this data that is present within this is actually 1000 rows of data. Now if you want, I can just show you what the data set is. I've got the data set, I've downloaded the data set from Kaggle, and it is very simple data. It doesn't have anything, any complex columns. It just has something called as an ID code. There is something called as a chemistry number or a chem number, and there are different smiles that have been provided, and this is the sample data that I have downloaded from Kaggle. Now this is test number 1, and there is as well another CSV called the test2.csv. Now the only difference that you will see here in both of them is that there is no chem number here. So the chemistry number or the chemical number that you want to, that was an extra column here. There is no column as such, and what we are going to use is we are going to join these two columns using the SQL. Now how do I do it? Of course, like I said, there has to be a script, and that script is what we have created we'll be creating within the AWS Glue. Now once you log into AWS Glue, now this is how the console would look like. You have to go to Visual ETL, and then you have to click on the script editor. Once you click on the script editor, it will ask you to start fresh, or you can as well upload a script. Now I have created a script, and this is the script that you can see. It's a Glue script. It's actually created in Python and PySpark, and that is a script that I'm going to choose from and then upload. Now if you see that this is the script that I'm choosing here, and I'll be uploading the script. Now while this Glue job is running, we have to run the Glue job. While this Glue job is running, I'll go ahead and show you what all are we doing here. But first, let me try to create a Glue job number 1 and then try to save this. Okay. While we are trying to save it, there is some error or there is some call to attention for us. Why is it showing it? Because we haven't chosen the AWS IAM role. Now it says that there is no IAM role available. Now guys, for this To run, we need two permissions or two roles. Now the glue must be able to talk to S3. Why? Because I have details or the data within S3, and the AWS also has to talk to CloudWatch so that it can put the logs there. If there are any errors, we'll have to go back and look at the logs. That is the reason why we need CloudWatch as well as S3 access provided to AWS Glue. Now what I'll do is I'll go to AWS IAM Identity and Access Management Console, and I'll click on role. Why do I click on role? Because if two of the services have to talk to each other, then you have to look at creating a role. I'll click on role and then I'll go ahead with AWS services. Here in the choose a service category or choose a service drop down, here I'll choose Glue, because that Glue requires permission to talk to S3 as well as permission to talk to or put the logs in the CloudWatch. Alright, I'll just say next, and instead of choosing very specific restrictive roles, what I'll do is I'll say S3 full access. This is one of the AWS managed accesses that you can provide to your role that you're creating. Okay, this is one of the roles, and I'll also say CloudWatch full access. Let's go ahead and see what are those. There is a version 2 and there is one full access. I'll go ahead and select the full access and then I'll say next. I need to give a name for this role. I'll say Glue S3 and CloudWatch full access role. I'll provide the name, the role name as AWS Glue S3 CloudWatch full access. I'll put the same here as well in the description. And if you look at the policy, it says allow policy for AWS Glue to assume role. Now you need to assume role for what? You'll assume role so that you can get access to S3 as well as CloudWatch. Now if I go ahead and then say create role, now this is creating the role for me. And then when I say view role, it will show me what are the actual permissions that I have for this particular role, and it says that as I said, I have access to S3 as well as the CloudWatch. Now if I come back here and then I say refresh and I go with the drop down, it should ideally show me the role S3 CloudWatch full access role. Now this is the role that I'm selecting, and I click on save. Once I click on save, the glue job saves. You have to save the glue job before you can run it. Alright, now let me just show you again what we are doing here. We are writing the script. Now I'll tell you what the script is while we are running the glue job. You also have to configure the IAM role for it. In the IAM role, you have to provide S3 full access as well as CloudWatch full access. Alright, now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and run, and let's see if this works or if it fails. If it fails, it's good, so that we can understand where it is failing and how we can rectify it. Or if it passes, then I'll try to explain you how this all works. Now let me just refresh it. It says that if you see here, you can see that the glue job is currently running, and then the duration it's been running from 17 seconds right now. If I refresh it, it will now show updated time. Now let me go back to the it's much clearer here. That's why I'm going to show you here. What I'm doing is I'm trying to read the CSV files. I'm going to read two CSV files. One of them had the chemical number and one of them did not have. What we'll do is we'll try to match those two CSV files. We'll try to join them using the SQL, and then we'll try to extract the chemical number that is corresponding to the ID code column. Okay, that is the first CSV that I'm reading. There is a second CSV that I'm reading. What I'm creating is I'm creating something called as a data frame. Okay. For running the SQL commands, you'll have to create something called as views, and I'm creating the views here. So see, for test file 1 as well as test file 2, I've created two different views. I am now selecting all from these views and getting them in a variable. And I'm then running these to get the results within this transformed DF source. I've created a lot of print statements as well, so that I can understand how these all are going. And finally, what I'm doing is I'm trying to join those two. Okay, what I'm using here is inner join, which is one of the joins within the SQL. If you do not know, please go back and look at basics of SQL. Joining conditions are very basics in SQL. There are 3 to 4 types of join, very basic joins, and there are more advanced joins that you can learn about. Okay, what I'm doing here is I am getting everything from file number 2 and I am only getting chemical number from file number 1 because that is the only difference there, and I'm trying to join those with on what? On ID code. So ID code is the common column between these two CSV files, and that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to join those two files depending on the ID code column. That is the same column within file 1 and file 2. I'm trying to join those two and extract the chemical number out of it. And later what I do is, once I am done with that, I'm coalescing it again. I'm bringing all of those chunks back into one big CSV, and I'm writing that big CSV back to an output folder which is within the S3 bucket. Now if you see here, there is an S3 bucket called the destination as well, and there is an S3 bucket called source, and in the destination there is something called as an output folder. I think the script is already done. Let's go back and look at the runs. Okay, now the run says it has succeeded and it is putting the data back in my S3 bucket, which is the destination folder. Now let me download this and then show you how this actually works. I am already inside the output folder. I'll save this and I'll go back here in my AWS Glue training folder. Within the output, I'm trying to open this CSV and let's look at how this CSV actually looks like. Now it will be very similar to the previous CSVs that we have seen. The only thing is that we are going to understand how this join works. If you see, there is the chemical number column, and if you see that the count is only 800. Now you need to look at why this is. Now I'm saying the count is 800 because in the remaining two files the count is actually 1000. There are 200 number of datas that do not match with each other. That is the reason why you see a difference of count here. Actually there are only 800 matching columns or matching rows between the two of the CSV files. That is the reason why it is showing here as 800. Okay, now let's go back and try to understand what this script does. Now the glue job, I have written a script. I have also shown you what the script does, and then I have tried to run the glue job, and when I have run it, the glue has actually written the output to my folder. If you see, it's on 1st of June 9:24 AM UTC plus 5:30 because I'm in India. This is 5 or 30 minutes ahead of the UTC or GMT, and it is now right now 9:28 AM. Alright guys, so this is the beauty of Glue. What we have done is we have extracted the data from S3 folder. We have transformed the data in a sense that we have tried to join them to, and then we have loaded the data back to the S3 folder. Alright guys, this is the beauty of Glue. That is what I wanted to show you all. And if you want to understand more, you can subscribe to this channel. You can send or you can share this video with your friends for them to understand how the Glue actually works. It is really that simple. The only thing that you need to worry about or try to understand about is the script. If your script is perfect, then there is no problem while you're trying to run Glue. And even if there is an issue with the Glue, it will always show in the CloudWatch logs, or while you are even running here, if there is an issue, it will show it here. Alright guys, that is what I wanted to tell you, that is what I wanted to show you. It's been lovely that you have stayed till the end, till here. And the last thing that I want to say is, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe so that you get such new videos, such intriguing videos. And my aim is to empower you guys to understand AWS as much as possible. Alright guys, this is Tejas signing off, and you all have a great day.